Hello everyone, welcome to Beaver's Hobby channel. In this video we're gonna take a look at the Furitek Microboost Brushless Censored ESC and LumaPower motor. First of all, I would like to thank Furitek for sending me this package for a review. So let's take a look. This is the package, so it is simple as usual for Furitek. We have the product inside a Ziploc bag. It comes in a plastic box like this, which is really nice because when I don't use it, I can keep it very easily. Inside we have a very well packed motor, ESC, and also a Bluetooth module. It comes with JST ZH 1.5mm plug for the receiver and JST PH 2mm plug for the battery. The battery connection has 3 wires, which means it reads the battery voltage on each cell individually. The ESC is connected to the motor with JST PH plug. And also don't forget the sensor wire. As you can see, it comes with a plug for everything, so you don't have to do any soldering. It also comes with a LED. I guess this thing goes to the back of the car, to the exhaust, so you can make a backfire effect. The motor is smooth, as usual for a motor of this type. And it also has a LED strip at the back. One thing I noticed is that the sensor wire has 6 pins. Normally a censored system has 5 pins, so I think one extra wire is for the LED. But I don't think you have to worry about using this ESC with another motor, or using this motor with another ESC, because it also comes with this 5-pin to 6-pin sensor cable. So you can plug it in, let's say, Surpass Hobby Kiwami. The 5-pin goes there and the 6-pin goes into the motor. It feels really small in my hands, but let's take a measurement to show you how small it really is. So it is 26mm long, 15mm wide, and 13.2mm thick or tall. To be honest, it feels quite tall because of the screen. Now let's compare it to other ESCs. These are the censored ESCs that I have. So let's start with the predecessor of this one, which is the Furitek Cyclops. It is a little bit narrower than the Cyclops. It is a tiny bit shorter than the Cyclops, but it is taller than the Cyclops, obviously because of the screen. Next, the Team Powers Emradon 2.1. The Microboost is bigger in every way. However, the Microboost has an advantage that the wires are coming out on the top. But with this ESC, the wires are coming out from the side. So, all in all, it is going to occupy the same space. Next, we have the Swerve W, which is about the same size as the Emradon. So the Microboost is going to be a little bit wider and taller. However, the length is about the same. And finally, my newest ESC that has just arrived, the Surpass Rocket Kiwami. Surprisingly, it is about the same height when include the plug and the button. But of course, the Microboost is longer than the Kiwami and a little bit wider. The highlight of this ESC is the screen and the button on the top. The button is 3-directional, so we can go left, right, and we can press it down. And also a switch on the other side, which I'll get to it later. For now, let's plug it in and see how it works. So let's plug it into the receiver first. Now, the battery. And here's the main screen. So let's see what it does. This circle indicates the RPM. The top row is the throttle time. The middle row is the max RPM. And the bottom row is the battery voltage. So if I swipe left, we can go to the total battery voltage, which is 8 volt. If I click right, it goes to each cell separately. And if I swipe right again, so this is the throttle input and RPM, which is really nice. From the main screen, I can press the button once to go into the setting menu, and I can do everything on this ESC just from the screen and this button without having to use the app. So I can just program anything, as you can see here. And again, with this button, we can go left, right, press down to go in, and hold to go back. Like that. So, to turn it off, we can hold the button and then click turn off. And now we have to unplug the battery to really turn it off. And that's how we use this ESC. Next, let's take a look at what you can program in this ESC. The first menu is the running, which you can adjust from forward brake reverse to forward and reverse directly. Or you can set it to go only forward with the forward brake. Next, we can set the motor rotation and BEC output. It can switch between 5.4 volt and 7.4 volt. But I have a prototype unit, so it runs at 6 volt. Next is the voltage cutoff. It applies the cutoff at the maximum cell, not the minimum. So you have to look out for that. Max forward, max reverse, max brake force, and drag brake can also be set. Next is the throttle menu. In this menu, you can adjust the throttle neutral, brake neutral, punch, rev limiter, and LED light effects. You can also set the forward frequency. The throttle calibration is in the throttle menu. You can also adjust the throttle curve for forward and reverse. It is a little bit tricky to adjust on the ESC. It is much easier to do on the app, but it can be done. Next is the battery status. You can adjust the voltage offset here. In this setting, you can change the motor kV for better reading and temperature unit. Also the temperature protection. The menu to reset the ESC is in the setting. You can also set the auto shutdown. Advanced menu is for turbo and boost. So, this ESC has all the features for a censored ESC. I want to show you the backfire or the LED functions. So, let's go into the LED. I'm gonna adjust everything using the screen and the button to show you that it is really that easy. Let's go down to the LED backfire. The LED backfire is this LED wire. It has 5 modes in total. 1, 2, 3, 4 and random. The random is gonna random from 1 to 4. So the mode 1 is the burst. As for the motor, we have the bright, which is always on. Brighten. This goes along with the throttle. So let me show you this. I have set it to brighten. So this thing is going to lit up according to the throttle input. like that. Now let's look at the lightning effect. On the lightning mode, the blinking speed ties to the throttle input. And finally, we have the backfire, which is going to sync with the LED backfire. This is the mode 1, which is going to light up only once for each burst. Let's check out the other modes as well. This is mode 2. Mode 3. And finally, mode 4. Next, the functionality of this always on button. When it is always on, as you can see, as soon as I plug the battery in, it is going to turn on. So, and if I want to turn it off, I can just unplug it, or I can hold the I can hold the button and then turn it off. Now let's turn it off. So let's see what's gonna happen. So I plug the battery in and it does nothing. So to turn it on, just hold the button to turn it on, and to turn it off, we're gonna have to go through the same process by holding the button and then click turn off. Now, what I really want to know is that, does it cut the power? So let's run a little experiment. I'm gonna flick the always on switch to off and leave the battery plugged in for a while to see if it drains the battery. So, from on to off, and then right now I have 4.08 volt. Okay, so let's plug it into the ESC. Press and hold this button. Until the screen comes on. And now we can flick the switch to see the battery. Okay, so it reports 4.0 in here. And it is working. So let's turn it off and then leave it like this for a while and see if it drains the battery. Oh, so I'm gonna have to go out. Then hold the button. The menu is gonna come on. So now we can turn it off. Here's the time. Let's leave it like this for a while, and I'll come back to check it later. Alright, it's been over 2 hours now, so let's take a look. Let's take it out and check it with the charger. Okay, so it is still the same. So I think it actually cuts the power. But just to be sure, let's come back and check it in another 2 hours. So let's turn it on and off. Okay, so let's turn it off and wait for another 2 hours. Well, another 2.5 hours have passed, so let's take a look at the battery. Perfect. So it really does cut the connection. So if you want to leave the battery plugged in, just turn off this always on switch. Even though that sounded idiotic to say it out loud, I still had to test it, just to see that it actually works that way. Next, let's put it on a car and see how it actually drives. In conclusion, in terms of driving experience, it is no different than other censored systems, by which I mean it is creamy smooth, with great throttle response and no cocking. It comes with all the settings you would expect from a censored ESC, including turbo, boost, and throttle curve. Unfortunately, at the time of this recording, it doesn't have the low speed mode, like the Cyclops does, so it starts to run a little bit fast. But Furitek can add it in later with a firmware update. The things that make this ESC stand out are the screen and the button that let you program everything on it easily without the need of an extra module or a programming card. And the light controller gimmick actually works great for drift cars. I haven't talked about the motor yet. Well, it's a censored motor, so it is really smooth. It revs up nice and linear. Again, with the lighting effects, it is great for drift cars. At $90 for the Microboost ESC, the price is decent, especially considering that you don't need a programming card. And $60 for the motor with illuminating backside is just right, although it will only light up with the Microboost ESC. If you want the Bluetooth module, that's going to be an extra $20. So if you want the full package, it is going to cost you $170, which is quite a lot for a motor ESC combo. But this is normal for a censored system. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you again next time.